My name is Maureen from the Rio Borough of Greenwich. I am going to talk about my role as a carer in the society where I live. And I have a particular policy that is so close to my heart, and it's called allocation of help by diagnosis in the community. I have been developing this for a while, and I'm happy to get involved in making it a reality. Here is my story, why allocation by diagnosis. I have two children, Belinda 22 and Calvin 15. Calvin was born with complex medical needs relating to VACTERL syndrome. For long, my family has been literally in lockdown. Calvin has chronic lung disease, for which he only managed to come off oxygen last year in August 2020, but still has respiratory physio twice a day, every day. This is just to keep on top of his lungs. He has pulmonary hypertension, which is now resolved, but is secondary to chronic lung disease. So it's very important we keep his lungs safe. He's had a repaired heart, operated on at least 3 times. He's had a full bowel construction. In the end, he has settled for a colostomy bag. He has serious renal problems. At the moment, he has a microphone off, a channel on the side of his stomach to help with emptying his bladder. Calvin has feeds through the judge. This is the complicated one, which can only be changed from radiology in hospital. He has a lot of medication to maintain his quality of life. My experience with social care has been a living hell. It has left me mentally sick, drained, exhausted, and confused. I do not understand why social care takes on the health/medical care component of care, for which they have no clue on any medical side. They end up looking after, in form of payment, the medical needs of the child. The child then misses out on the social needs. These two components, health and social, should combine care for the full benefit and potential of the child. I have fought for over 10 years. This alone has taken a huge toll on my health, both physically and mentally. For example, my son had a full bowel construction and open heart operation, both huge operations. And this is just a few of the operations he has had. He came home still on oxygen. The social care panel sits and comes out with help of 6 hours a week. As for the continuing care stroke health budget, that child does not qualify nor meet the standards. My child would go to bed attached to a feeding tube, microphone off tube, colostomy bag, SATS monitor, oxygen tube, and I'm told it's okay to put Calvin to bed, and I also go to sleep. No need to check on him. A child in the same situation in another borough could be getting, say, 30 hours a week. How is that fair? And that is why allocation by diagnosis is the best solution for this. It could be as well a child in the same borough with similar situations, but could be getting more help, and another family has literally nothing. That is not fair. Allocation by diagnosis is the best solution for us. At the moment, we are receiving 1 night weekly of help, 3 nights monthly at Richard House Children's Hospice. So we receive 7 nights a month. For some reason, like if there's a dying child, an emergency admission at Richard House Children's Hospice, we will not have the 3 nights. I applied for a personal budget in order to adapt Calvin's budget to suit our needs. I was denied the personal budget. My actual assessment on my needs as a carer has never been taken into consideration. During lockdown, I was going through mental health counseling with Time to Talk. The lady identified my child as a child at risk. This was reported. Time to Talk also found out there was already 2 MASH reports. They sent in another report, making it 3 MASH reports. All this information meant nothing to the council, not to social care. When Time to Talk insisted they put in more help, finally I was given an extra night and 6 hours a week for day help. This help expired after lockdown. Many professionals have written to social care pleading for more support. Richard House Children's Hospice has sent in a full 24-hour care report on Calvin, minute by minute, sent to social care showing how exhausting it is to look after him. Nothing changed. I've had blackouts in front of my son. I have tried River Thames to help drowning me and my son, but failed. Due to lack of support, my son does not have any social stimulation. He misses school a lot. We as a family do not have any social life. We do not have enough money, for I lost my profession. As an adult, I've struggled to have a proper access to a good fuck. Having sex has to be planned for my case. If I'm lucky to have someone to have sex with me, he has to wait for that one night the carer comes in. Then I have to hurry back to take over from the carer. How am I supposed to maintain a relationship? And later on, the machines that go off in the night, the checkups that one has to do to check on the child. All these impact on one's sex life. Carers do not tell you this, but most go through these situations. No wonder most of them end up being single. Accessing help is so depressing. This has impacted on my social needs a lot. There is no proper communication between professionals and us, service users. No one believes you. Instead, you're branded, put down, and labeled in the most heinous way. My daughter once told me she worries about my relationship with my son, his brother, and myself. She thinks it's more of a carer than a mother. I do not know how much this has affected Belinda. So, as a carer, if I was asked what would make life easier for me in the community, what would you put forward? I have 5 points that I feel would kind of help. Well, later on, the money issue. Number 1, I'll develop a system where help is allocated to according to diagnosis. Various illnesses would be classed in one group. For example, a group of children with complex needs would say get 40 hours a week. Once the parent leaves the hospital, the family does not have to have these strenuous fights with the council. This help is yours if you want it. If you do not want it, it's okay. It will go into the discretionary pot. So it's like a pot. And this help that is in the pot would go to those who are struggling and need a little bit more. The government will save a lot of money because they will be able to anticipate a proper budget. But also parents will have a peace of mind and they don't have to go through a lot of hassle with social care or health, wherever it has to come from. Number 2, the children hospices should have more funding to encourage provision of respite for parents. You find that most of these children cannot access social interactions like music, drama, due to lack of proper facilities or suitability of staff to look after them. But these hospices have these facilities in place already with staff. I think we are missing out on achieving the full potential of some of the disabled children. Number 3, the nursing in the community to carry out a proper nursing role. If need be, every child should have a named nurse who will be able to read, understand the diagnosis of the child. The social services department to deal with purely social needs of the child, exploring the full potential of that child. If the child has medical needs, the care to be combined, that is between health and the social services. The nurses should develop a proper relationship with the service users, in particular having adequate empathy. Number 4, the nurses in the community to have at least one day of shift in the local hospital. This will help on the knowledge stimulation and update on some of the developments in medicines that normally takes place in the hospital. Also, the nurses will have a direct access to doctors who can explain about the condition in the community. I think the community nurses do a lot of useless paperwork and drive around without any concentration on the service users. Then the service users are left to fend for themselves. It is embarrassing to see that these nurses hardly know anything about your child, and yet they are supposed to be the first point of contact in case of emergency. Number 5, I think I would develop a proper system to allocate equipment, a system that triggers servicing when due. Also, in particular, when professionals like OT are going to assess the service users, they should go in pairs. This will eliminate bias and promote transparency. Another one, the supplies should be tendered on a pay-as-you-go basis. The supplies I'm talking about, things like syringes, pads, those kind of supplies should be tendered according to pay-as-you-go, on a pay-as-you-go basis. Especially, for example, if a child is in hospital, the parents should be able to call the suppliers not to deliver these supplies for that month. This flexibility saves money, but also parents will trust the system and not have wastage. Thank you for listening, and I hope you can share this video as much as possible, because being a carer is something that is so rewarding, but also it's very exhausting. So we need all the help we can get from the government. Thank you.